What's going on, guys? Welcome to our brand new channel. Today's video we're talking about T-Mobile, Sprint, AT&T, and Verizon. Oh my gosh, he's in front of the camera. That's right. So now I want to talk about these mobile data plans. Most people out there are asking me exactly who I'm using or who I think is the best. Just got asked this question again yesterday. The fact is, first of all, I do read your comments and I see that people are interested in learning about T-Mobile, AT&T, Sprint, and Verizon so they can make an informed decision. T-Mobile and Sprint have these quote-unquote unlimited data plans. Then you have AT&T and Verizon who have so many data plans that it's ridiculous and they charge a lot of money per gigabyte. The fact is this though. First of all, the reason why I don't like talking about who I use myself is because these companies might be paying attention and I don't want any company getting that angry with me knowing that I'm criticizing a company that I might be using. What if I'm a T-Mobile customer? Oh my gosh. The fact is that some of these companies get really angry when people are criticizing them. The other part of this is that I don't want to promote a particular company because I think all of these companies are doing something messed up in their own way. If you compare these companies, look at Verizon and AT&T. They're worth the most amount of money, but the way they made their money is probably because they didn't have necessarily the best data plans out there, the way it was priced, but they had great service for their customers because why else would people continuously use them unless they didn't have many options in where they were located. That happens too. I noticed that with some people that are commenting about my videos. It doesn't necessarily mean that everyone's going to have the same experience with the same company in the same area of the country or world. That's just the way it works. In the United States, AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, and T-Mobile, those are the four major carriers. All these companies have something going on where they're trying to inform you about what they're doing, but they're not always being real and honest about it. The prime example of this is binge on. I mean, with T-Mobile, you're talking about 480p video. We talked about this before, but the whole idea of monetizing data in this way, where they're saying they're not capping data or throttling, as John Ledger was talking about, the fact is, it is a data throttle, a data cap, because you're not allowing all that data to process, so someone would get HD video because the T-Mobile One plan offers unlimited 480p video. If you allowed all that data to go through, the person would just be getting HD video. So you're interfering with that data. You're not optimizing the experience for the customer, although you're trying to say that. And the fact is that when you notice something going on with a mobile carrier such as T-Mobile, you have to question these things. It is a fact that I saw that information on the FCC website where a law professor was questioning what T-Mobile does with their binge on plan. And the way the person was talking, they were describing what T-Mobile does on their own website that misinforms people. And I noticed that about that credit for the Pixel phone. Yes, it says $325, but you would have to search around that webpage to figure out that it's $13.55 per month for 2 years to get your money back. And what it seems like is that they're trying to get you involved with their company similar to what a contract would offer. Because if you have $13.55 being paid back to you for 2 years, well, what's the circumstances that you get that money back? Read the fine print from T-Mobile. You had to have an active account for those 2 years. So you have to continuously use T-Mobile to get your money back. So exactly what I said before, they're trying to get you to use their company for 2 years. That's exactly what it is. What it reminds me is why a company gets this annoyed when people are talking about them. Because you see a company like this in social media, you ask questions to their CEO, or you're talking about T-Mobile, and T-Mobile is out there and they want to reply to you. And they want to say that you don't exactly have it right. You know, the fact is that when we talk about T-Mobile, we're not just talking about a company that's selling data plans. We're talking about a company that doesn't want to be completely honest with consumers. When John Ledger talks about getting the full utilization of your phone, as he describes it, by using 480p video, we know that's not right. But most customers out there, they're not interested in learning about data, even bit rates. They don't want to hear about any of it. All they want to do is buy a mobile data plan and have the carrier be honest with them. That's all they want. So if a mobile carrier is out there selling these plans and they say they're being honest, and not only that, the CEO is out there and he's involved in social media and he's saying all of those things, nobody's going to say anything otherwise unless they research. So again, this takes a lot of information to be absorbed. People need to be more informed, and then you can make an informed decision about which company to use. AT&T and Verizon have their own thing going on, and that's because of the value of their companies. They have a lot of money. Then you have T-Mobile and Sprint. They're doing their own thing. They're trying to sell these quote-unquote unlimited data plans. Meanwhile, they deprioritize data. So that's what they're doing. So it's almost like a split of those four companies. T-Mobile and Sprint are a good example of trying to evolve these plans in a way by trying to capitalize on that data while they're trying to gain more customers. What it looks like to me is that what T-Mobile prides itself in is telling people on how many customers they've gained. It's good for their stock. It's good for investors. You look at what the other companies are doing compared to what T-Mobile does. T-Mobile is focused on AT&T and Verizon for the fact that those companies are worth the most. The only way we can get more change in this industry where everyone's interested in better data plans is by having people talk about it. As long as people talk about this and it's a continuous conversation, then we can have more people interested in what's going on, and then they can ask these companies the same kind of questions. With even the fact that the FCC has to describe unlimited in quotes. If it was really unlimited or unlimited high-speed data, there wouldn't be any quotes involved. Because the FCC does not want to misinform customers or consumers themselves, they have to use quotes so they let you know that they actually know that the data is not really unlimited. Because when you deprioritize the data, or you could cancel someone's plan, the data was never unlimited. You're capping data by just slowing down that data because you're not allowing all that data to process. You're slowing down data so you don't have to offer all those services to someone that might want to use 80 gigabytes. Someone just posted that on the channel. I would not suggest doing that with any of these carriers. First of all, they could slow down your data, and also, as I said before, they can cancel your plan. For myself, I try to use Wi-Fi as much as I can because I don't want to utilize that data from the mobile carrier all the time because they're going to see a lot of data consumption. And yes, I use a lot of data on my phone because even YouTube is a good example of an application that uses a lot of data. That's what these applications require. So the answer to all of these issues is really to make the networks better. I think it's something that's lacking with a lot of these companies because they're trying to monopolize data. They're trying to profit from bitrate. When it gets to that point, it is time for people to say something about it because not everyone is that informed about bitrate or videos processing. They don't know anything about that. If people are going to be real about it, they're going to see that when these companies are being called out for it, those are the times that you pay attention to the complaints, including the FCC complaint against T-Mobile or any of the other mobile carriers out there, because they all have something that they're doing that's really messed up. If you want to be authentic about this, you really need to call it out for what it is, even if it's the company that you're using. Someone the other day started talking about T-Mobile and they say, you know what, I use T-Mobile, but what you're saying makes sense. And that's the kind of conversation we're looking to have. These situations with T-Mobile, AT&T, Sprint, and Verizon are costing real consumers and customers out there money. If we don't say what T-Mobile is doing or any other company out there, and that's including AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint, then nothing's going to change. It's continuously be the same nonsense, and we're going to have issues with all these companies continuously until people speak out again. AT&T, they do their own thing also, just like Verizon, selling those data plans where they're charging so much money for data, just about the data. And I was really honest about this the other day when I said, you know what? I'm asking, where's the unlimited high-speed data? Where's the data? One of the worst things going on in the mobile industry are companies trying to profit from bitrate. Some people are trying to compare what one company does to the other, but I'll tell you this much about the unlimited data plans, quote unquote, because they're not really unlimited. If we're going to be real about that 480p video, to get 720p video, you need additional data, and there is a data cap going on behind the scenes that you're not seeing. Although T-Mobile says you have complete control of what's going on, it does not excuse what you're doing with the data. If you were to allow all that data, then people can get any quality video that they want without having to pay additional fee for it. You should allow customers to know what's going on. If they knew that they were paying for additional bitrate, they would say, you know what your company is doing is not right. I thought I had unlimited data. But since you're not being honest about it, and that's including John Ledger, people are being misinformed. Network management is not an excuse in itself to allow you to do this. Because when you sell these plans and you say that you're optimizing the experience for the consumer, you're not being authentic. Because those phones and tablets are capable of more than just 480p video. In this situation with T-Mobile, Sprint, Verizon, and AT&T, or as I like to call them, the Four Stooges, you're all doing something in your own way that's really messed up and not good for our industry. And I see how T-Mobile is engaging in social media. Even Sprint, but really T-Mobile. Verizon tries, and of course AT&T, but not as much as T-Mobile. In this revolution, we are not going to be bullied, and we are not going to allow companies such as yourselves misinforming the public by trying to talk about people telling the truth, being honest about your company. I am not going to allow a company like T-Mobile to bully me and misinform the people subscribed to my channel. If you arrive to my channel and you work for T-Mobile, you better explain how you work for that company and why you're saying the things that you're saying that are not true. But again, as any great leader out there does, they are going to be honest with the people who listen to what they have to say, as I am, and I notice a lot of you are supporting the videos, and I appreciate that. Because when you watch videos on this channel, we are going to be real about these things, no matter what company it is. Because too often, people just stand on the sidelines and they do not want to be honest about these kind of situations. They do not want to be authentic about what they see out there. They do not want to say anything that might anger people. There's been a lot of anger. You seem very angry, John Ledger. You make $18.5 million or around that, and you're very angry about these mobile plans. And when someone questions you about it, you get even more angry. Because you think to solve these problems, you need to wear a magenta shirt and yell and curse. Great leaders out there, and real leadership doesn't just take yelling, or cursing for that matter. It takes honesty, and to believe in what you actually say. And I don't believe that the people from T-Mobile or the other mobile carriers even believe what they're saying. And they know they're misinforming people. One of the things that we could do a lot better is infrastructure. Part of that infrastructure is not just transportation. We are talking about the actual data infrastructure that allows us to communicate every day. Most people that talk about these data plans are not talking about it on that level. They're being a bit too selfish. And yes, I am talking to T-Mobile, Sprint, AT&T, and Verizon. And by the way, when you're being used by some corporate company out there, of course they know what they're doing because they're pulling the strings of consumers. That's all they're doing. Like a puppet. Like a corporate puppet that misinforms you. It's not right, and it's time that this industry is going to change. And it's going to change. Whether those companies want it to or not. And people are going to be more informed. And once people get more information, they become informed consumers. And you can't stop an informed consumer from making an informed decision because then your act doesn't work anymore.